Hey folks, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the workshop. We're in for another episode of watching me lose my mind to vintage electronics. Because today we have this, the Yamaha CP25. It's a electric piano from the late 70s, early 80s, made by Yamaha, and this example doesn't work, which is why it's here. And I'm hoping that we can at least try and find out why it doesn't work and hopefully fix it. So yeah, let's see if we can open it up and see if there's anything obvious to start us off. Away we go. The beauty of vintage electronics like this is that they were designed to be worked on. I've taken the 4 screws out of the top and we can just open it up like the bonnet of a car, and here's everything we need that we can work on, and it's all presented in nice, simple to work on circuit boards that hopefully will point us in the right direction. So yeah, let's take a look inside and see what we can see. So what we have here is a, I forget how many keys keyboard. It's fully weighted, and quite surprisingly for something of its time, it features velocity sensing. So the harder you push the key, the louder the initial impulse gets, much like a real piano. And this is actually achieved in a wonderful way. If we can see down in here with my little new camera, when the key is pressed, we can see this contact moving. Now ordinarily this contact rests on another one underneath it, and as you push it, it releases the bottom contact, comes up and presses the top. See if we can see the bottom contact. It's a bit hard to see. There we are. Just in here. You can see it. Oops, go back to where I was pushing. You can see it moves from the bottom leaf to the top leaf. The time taken between the breaking of the contact at the bottom and the making it at the top is what the velocity of the key press is derived from, which changes the amount of attack of the impulse. And then our signals run up onto the main board here, where, as we can see, everything's laid out wonderfully. So we've got our clock circuitry over here, the key assigner here, and this is my big worry. If this chip has gone pop, then we're in a world of hurt because they don't make those chips anymore. Then we have 2 wave generators. They are YM722 chips, which I think are still made. There's a classic line of Yamaha YM audio chips. And then we have our mixing amplifiers, filters, buffers, and so on up here. And then these are the these are the panels for the controls on the front. And underneath here, I think, is the flanger controller and the such. We shall have to see as we take the covers off. And of course here we have the classic, really rather ugly looking power supply that will probably get a recap by the end of this because, quite frankly, ew. I'm not sure if that's just discoloured or there's been some popping, but we shall see. Okay, so the first thing that I've noticed is this. It's a switch, and, well, it's bits of a switch. And this is what controls the output. I'll try and get a better shot of it here. Yeah, that's not meant to be in as many pieces as it is. So I'm thinking, let's So fingers crossed we should see some noise. See some noise? Hear some noise. Okay, so some of the keys are working, some aren't, but well, we've got noise out of it. That's, hang on, I'm just going to shift this all around because it'll be easier for me to talk to you. Okay, so we have noise. I mean, it's dreadful shitty noise that sounds more like a fart machine than an electric piano. But so far, fixing that switch has gone from no noise to some noise. Probably can't call it done just yet though. So the question is, what's causing all the weirdness? One other question is, does the headphone output work? Cool, so that's the line out and the headphone both work. Output 2 won't work because I haven't jumpered. I wonder if the CP stood for crapping, because it sure sounds like it's having a poo. Sorry, oh man, listen to that! So I've just turned on 2. I'm guessing that's number of voices per key? It's weird, isn't it? I've added fifths and eighths. So, professional view, it's balked. But I reckon it's salvageable. I reckon the bones of a good machine are here. I'll just turn that off because it's hissing a bit. There's also some serious history to this machine that needs to be considered whilst looking for the issues, which is that it spent at least a good year or so of its recent life on the balcony of a block of flats in Manchester. Also kind of smells like a cat might have pissed inside it, or at least on it. So it could just be bad grounds. I also think that I'm probably not going to do much cleaning up of it, irrespective if we get it to work or not. You know, it's going to be a nice ornament regardless. But the history of this is really interesting. So like, I don't mean the product line, I mean this particular instrument. The guy that owns it, who I said I'd have a look at it for, he was in a band in his 20s that did local hero kind of well. You know, I've met people that still remember them. You know, they did well enough. And yeah, as things happen, you know, everybody drifted apart. People got married and things. And yeah, so the guy that owns this was looking on eBay for bits and bobs and things not so long ago, and saw this, you know, for sale, spares or repair, Yamaha CP25, and oh, you know, I used to own, you know, we used to play one of them in my band. And he had a look at it and he's like, hang on, I recognise those cigarette burns, I recognise that graffiti, and it was the very same keyboard. It's interesting to sort of get reunited with kit that you thought you'd never see again, I guess. And yeah, and now I'm going to see if I can make it all the better by making it go from sounding like a fart machine to a very unrealistic sounding piano. Let's hope it's not too painful a journey, because I really want a quick win. That gen really... well, you remember. Anyway, yeah, so let's see. Let's turn it off, take that shielding off, and then pray to the gods of retro equipment that it's not the key assigner. I honestly don't think it is, though. I think this feels physical, almost like a dried up capacitor or shorts or something. So yeah, it works. So let's see what we can do with it from here on out. Are these... let's bring this forward a bit. Oh no, these are captive little doohickeys. That's the official term, you know. Captive doohickey. Okay, so I'm guessing that these circuits are prone to a fair amount of interference, what with this shielding being earthed and everything. There we go, let's see what we can sit. Good God, there's another one. Whoops. That's really interesting. That is a wooden backplane completely painted in shielded paint. There we go, that should maintain that ground. And yeah, as I thought, this is the effects board. So that's interesting. Okay, this is the newly revealed board, and as we can see, we've got clock generator and low frequency oscillator for the flanger, LFO for the tremolo, basic tremolo circuit there, flanger circuit, compressor and expander, amplifier mixing, balancing amplifiers, blah blah blah. It's all self-explanatory, it's written on there. But this is interesting, a muting relay. Okay, this probably sounds stupid, but hear me out. When I powered it on, I think the camera was running. Did you hear a relay click? Yes, a relay did click. Okay, so it doesn't look like the relay is to blame, which is good. I didn't think it would be, but let's have a look at what keys we got. I don't wear Kirby grips, but I've just found a Kirby grip inside here. probably coloured match to the rust. Okay, so where we are is I've got all of the shielding stripped off and everything looks happy. The relay that I thought might be an issue isn't. And we have entire blocks of keys that have sprung to life. I am wondering about something. So go with me on this, right? Oh, people of Tinternet. The way that this registers a key press is that there is voltage on a spring between two contacts. The spring naturally rests on the bottom contact and current flows through as you would expect. Then as soon as you hit the key, it flies up to the top contact, right? Makes sense? So what if, and yeah, the time between here and here is what determines the velocity sensing. But what if it's not what if, because it's been sat out on a balcony and been possibly nested in by pigeons, what if the contacts have corroded? What if it's not seeing one of these two signals? Could that be the case for the entirety or almost the entirety of the key bed? I'm not entirely certain, but I've seen weirder stuff happen in the world, and I think I'm going to put that as a possibility, but before I start pulling bits and bats out and start messing around with that sort of thing, I might just do one that I know doesn't work and see what happens. Well, a quick spray of contact cleaner hasn't really done much. So I'm going to have a look under here and see if I can see anything. I suppose, I know I said that my plan was to go through each individual part separately, but that comes after checking for obvious damage, I think. Because if there's anything obvious, we'll be able to see it. Assuming I don't electrocute myself by dropping all sorts of shit in. Oh, good lord. Okay. Let us see what we can see. As I said, it's been left on a balcony. Okay, we have massive amounts of corrosion. Whether that is enough corrosion to cause injury to the boards, I don't know. but it's certainly not the sort of thing we like to see. Wait, is that an actual mouse house? Can't really get the light in there to see, but yeah, that looks you know, I think there's multiple issues here, which isn't a surprise. So let's knock the power off and take these boards out. And now with the key switching units out, or at least for this end, we can see, I think that might have been a baby mouse nest. You can see the state of the back of this board here. Honestly, I'm surprised it even operates. Behold, or I hold, the key switching module from the top end of the keyboard. And yeah, how can I put it politely? It's a fucking state. You can kind of see it's all a bit, yeah. The rear circuit board looks okay. There's a couple of gouges in it. Like here, for example. I don't know if you can see that so well. A couple of gouges. I don't think they go through all the way through the traces, but it's worth checking out. And finally, there's quite a few of these switches that don't seem to be making contact. Or if they are, they're on, I mean, just look at the state of that. I don't know if you can see just here. You know, they're not meant to be green. But yeah, it's looking like a combination of issues, but not ones that are impossible to deal with. Whatever critter's been running around inside of this has bent a few of the connectors. Some of them look, yeah. This one, for example, I don't know how easy it is to see on camera. There you go, have you zoomed in enough? There, yes, it's struggling. But this second one, there is an air gap between the spring and the bottom switch, so that's going to need this is all going to need truing up. I'd love to separate the switches from the circuit board, but they are all soldered together and I cannot be arsed unsoldering the lot of them, so I might just have to do some bendy magic and hope that nobody notices. Okay, so I've got the key switches back in, and up to there, which is interesting because that's basically an octave from D. D, E, F, G, A, B, C. But what's really interesting is none of the other octaves seem to want to work unless and then back to D. Which is interesting. It's almost like this center octave here is opening the gate for the other octaves. I actually am feeling quite confident that with a bit of cleaning and making sure that none of the connectors are too corroded, we may actually end up with a relatively working keyboard in the not too distant future. How cool is that? And of course the flange and vibrato sound great on it now. Okay folks, I think I'm going to leave it there for the day. I think that I've made a lot of progress, but now my brain's going, is it this, is it that, blah blah blah, and really I want my brain to stop doing that, because I'm at the point now where I'm rushed because I've got stuff I need to do in the evening, but also I'm excited to get this finished, and you can miss things and mess up with that, and I don't want to mess this up. But I mean, yeah, it's we've gone from no output and just a glowing red light to an octave's worth of output, weirdly starting at the D, but whatever, everyone loves the D. I was worried that this would be like the Gen, a big long brain tearing problem, but honestly I'm actually really excited and confident that this isn't going to prove too much of a pain in the ass, which might be famous last words, maybe not. So the plan now is to clean all the nicotine off of everything, make sure that we can get it working in all octaves, clean any more mice nests out of it, and get it back to the owner. Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, do the thumbs up thing. If you want to buy me a cup of coffee, because I am entirely fueled by caffeine, there's a link for that down below, and I will see you next time. Cheerio!